let's continue our discussion about binding and unbinding price floors on the labor market. Okay, as we said in the previous video that when the price is $4 per hour, we tend to believe there's a shortage on the market, but actually that shortage won't occur, or at least the market won't go as low as $4 per hour, because once the market falls a little bit below $5 per hour, let's say $4.90 per hour, then there would be an upward pressure which pushes the market back up to the equilibrium. Okay, so remember, $4 and above, they're all legal, so the equilibrium point can be achievable, right? Now, this is quite different when we look at $7.25, because over there you would find that only $7.25 and above are legal, right? You cannot go below to reach the equilibrium point. That's why here the surplus or unemployment would exist. Okay, so here in this case we find that excuse me, 725 is a binding case. All right, it has a real effect upon labor supply and labor demand. But the $4 per hour is an unbinding case. Okay, here you would find that when we look at the price floor, if the floor goes below the equilibrium price, it becomes unbinding. If it stays above the equilibrium price, it's binding. But previously, when we talk about the price ceiling, it's the other way. It's the opposite. So when the price stays below the equilibrium price, it's a binding price ceiling. When the price stays above the equilibrium price, it's an unbinding price ceiling. Okay. All right. Now let's continue our discussion about the influence of the minimum wage. Okay. Now we already see the first influence, that is the unemployment, right? Simply because of the artificial increase in the wage per hour from $5 to $7.25, we created 40 units of unemployed labor. Okay, and remember, these 40 units doesn't have to be there, right? These unemployment, because once we remove the minimum wage, we're gonna see the unemployment goes away, right? And the second thing is, so the first one is the unemployment. The second thing, we're gonna look at, who are gonna be these 40 units of unemployed labor. Okay, so in other words, we're gonna look at who are the winners, who are the losers. All right, and again, let's use the numbers we created here. Without the minimum wage, we find that the market can provide 100 jobs, okay, or 100 hours of jobs. Let's just loosely speaking use 100 jobs with the minimum wage of $7.25, because labor becomes more expensive, so the firms decide to lay off people and use other technologies and machineries. So only 80 only 80 jobs are created on the market. So let's look at this. We used to produce or created 100 jobs. Now only 80 are available on the market. That means we lose 20 jobs. Okay, I want to ask you, who are these 20 laid off workers? Who are more likely to be laid off? Okay. Now, if you were running your own business and you find that labor is too expensive, you have to lay off some of your workers. Who you would like to lay off the first? The common answer would be the less productive, right? You would like to lay off less productive workers. Now, let's continue asking ourselves who tend to be less productive. You would probably say less educated people, right? Less skilled, right? And probably even less healthy, right? Because they may have more doctor's appointment and more absence of job, right? Now, when we look at this group of 20 workers versus 80, you would probably say that this group of 20 is poor, right? The group of 80 is richer, relatively speaking. Okay, of course, they're not as rich as Bill Gates, but compared to the group of 20, they are richer. The group of 20 needs more help from the government, right? But look at what the government did for them. When the government raised the minimum wage or create the minimum wage, it completely removes all the or get rid of these 20 jobs. Okay, so these less educated, less skilled, less healthy workers become losers under the minimum wage law, and more educated, more skilled, healthier ones are the winners. Okay, all right, that's why here we would like to say that the minimum wage law redistributes the wealth among the poor. Actually, it makes the poor poorer and the relatively rich richer. Okay? Remember, the law does not create even one more job for our economy. Okay? The only thing it does is to redistribute the wealth. Okay? And of course, it does not help the poor as the government promises. Okay? So who are the winners and the losers? We already talked about that, right? In reality, the college students like you guys are more likely to be the winners because you are better educated, you are more energetic, you're young and healthier, right? And these people are more likely to be the losers, okay, as we already said. Now, in the long run, we would find that because labor becomes more expensive, so the firms or employers would find other solutions, okay? Especially when they expect that the labor would become more and more expensive. Then the firms have a strong incentive to adopt machinery, equipment, and technologies, right? Like on this picture, what you see is a restaurant in Europe, okay? So this is not a vending machine. This is a restaurant where you can buy hot meals, okay? The freshly cooked meals. So what you need to do is to place the order on the machine, and then on the backstage, the machine will cook whatever you ordered, okay? And the food will be served over there. So you won't see any human workers over there. Okay, and that's what we're gonna say. Okay, if the minimum wage continues to go up, then more and more jobs would be eliminated, okay, or replaced by machinery, equipments, and technologies. Okay, and that's why we said the minimum wage law actually kills jobs, unfortunately. Okay, and how many jobs it could create, or I'm sorry, how many jobs it will kill? This is a very important question, right? On the previous slide, we use some makeup numbers. I said that the market can provide 100 jobs without minimum wage, and it created only 80 jobs after the introduction of the minimum wage law to the market, right? But in reality, we got to take that very seriously, and you can actually see these interesting podcast on NPR. Okay, let me switch to this. This is a piece coming out a few years ago when President Obama signed an executive order to raise the minimum wage, the federal minimum wage, from $7.25 to $10.10. Okay, he used the executive order because back then the Congress was partially controlled by the Republicans, and President Obama knew he would not receive any support from the Congress. Okay, so he just went ahead and used the executive order. All right, and in this case, in this podcast, they discussed, how many jobs can be eliminated simply because of the increase in minimum wage. Okay, now CBO stands for Congressional Budget Office. It's a research institution or research agency of the government, responsible for providing the research reports to all congressmen and women, okay, so including Democrats, Republicans, and independent. In other words, in their report, the CBO reports, they're not supposed to take any political position. Okay? They stay purely, in this report, purely economic, okay, and look at the labor market analysis. Okay, now you can Google this and check it out after the video. Okay, but two important numbers I would like to mention to you. They said that because of the increase in minimum wage from $7.25 to $10.10, how many people can benefit from this? Okay, they find that the median estimate is 90,000. I believe. Let's see. I believe it's 90,000. They mentioned can be lifted up from the poverty line. Okay, and let's see if I can find that here. Oh, it's got to be somewhere here. But anyway, so that you can take that 90,000 as the benefit of the program of the higher level minimum wage. But they also said that the cost is huge. Okay, so here. Oh, I'm sorry. Here they said that 25 million people would see a boost in their paychecks. Okay, I believe the number of people would be lifted up the poverty line should be 900,000 probably. Okay, but they also said that because of these, yeah, right here. I'm sorry, lift 900,000 people out of poverty. Okay, but the cost is also substantial. They said that we're going to see 500,000 jobs eliminated because of the higher minimum wage. Okay, so again, this is a pretty serious issue. But what's more interesting to me is, they hold the press conference after President Obama announced this executive order. The reporters asked the question, why, where the number 1010 comes from. The White House said it's just pretty easy for people to remember. In other words, there's no economic calculation reasoning behind this number. It's just ridiculous. 1010 is pretty easy to remember. right? So that's where we are.